Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit?
Hello guys, so I'm Berma from Group 6, presenting on how to use your C program to write the hotel booking system. So first, we start with the hash include stdi.h. So this is a directive which is commonly used in C programming languages. That includes the standard input-output header, which contains essential functions like printf and also scanf. So let's move to the second line, that is the stdlib.h. So this is a header for and also the standard library of C programming languages that declares various utility functions for type conventions, normal location, algorithms, and other similar use cases. So let's move to the third line, that is the string.h. So this is also a header file in C languages that contains functions for array of characters. So let's move to the fourth line, that is the std.bool.h. So this is also a header file that supports the bool data types. So the bool can store the value as true or false, which is a common requirement in a C programming languages or other programming languages. So it is also a C header which supports the Boolean variable. So then a Boolean variable is a type of variable that can only hold one of two values, that is true or false, representing yes or no or one or offset with. So let's move to line 6 and 7 because both of them begins with the hash define. So the hash define, so this is a preprocessor directive that is used to define a macro in a C program. So then a macro is a symbolic name or a constant that represents a value, expression, or a code snippet. So in this case, my max rooms and my max booking over here. So this is my macro. So let's move to line 10, which is the type def structure. So this structure allows you to type a name for your structures, making it easier to declare variables of that structure type later in your code. So below are how my room structure looks like. So first, I have an integer which is normally typed or written as an int. So the integer type variables can store 0, positive and negative values without a decimal. So let's move to the line 12, which is the character normally written as char, char. So the character is a data type that is used to store single character. So let's move to the bool. So the bool data type is used to store logical values, specifically true or false. So let's move to line 14, that is my float. So the float is a data type which stores fractional numbers. So let's move to line 19. So line 19, so I have an integer to store my booking number. I also have a character to store my customer's name. I also have a character to store my customer's contact number. I also have a character, that is line 22, to store my customer's email address. I also have my character to store my customer's check-in date. And I also have my line 24. I also have my integer to store the number of nights my customer will stay. And also have my float on line 25 to store the number of total price my customer will stay. So let's take from line 28 to line 39. So this is how the rooms are going to be displayed. So first, I have my integer, which is the 101. So then we go to the character type, that is my single. Then we go to the bool to indicate whether the room is available or not. So that is the true over here. And you also have the float to calculate the number of nights my customer will stay. That is the 774.0 over here. So thank you.
Hello everyone, so I am Kali Manobawa to present on the line of code 44 to 72 of group 6 presentation. I start. So here we have void display. We initiated some functions here by defining them, and one of them is void display. So void display we have here as defined. So if we have printf, then on the printf meaning that it should be displayed as available room. Okay, and then we have for loop, and for the for loop for which we initiated a loop here, and then we have initialization, and then we have here the condition. So the condition here which I is less than maximum, then we have what the upgrade, that is what I telling the computer that it should what loop until I sum up by 1 continuously, and when I is less than the maximum, it should stop. So we have if here, so we have the if condition. So we said if room I, we have room, then into an array we have I, where I has been defined as 0. or has been initiated as zero. So we have I, which is here. So it's equal to zero. Then it's available room. So we said if room zero is what? Room, okay. Room room is available. Print room. Then we have the comma specifier percentage D, and then we have what percentage F, and then percentage 0.2F, which this is a float, and this here is also a character, but a single character, and we have here to be in a character. So we have here room, then we have the room I, so it will come and display this here. Then we have what that is the value of this room, it will come and display it here. Okay, and then the amount, which is here, whatever value it will be taken, it will also come and display it here. Just as for the other functions which have been defined. So we have the next function here, book room. So as we all can see here, it says if we stated a condition, if booking account is greater or equal to mass booking, then print no more bookings can be made. Then return zero. So we have our return zero here to stop the code after it has been run. Oh. Now let's move on. We have some integers. We have some integers which have been declared by some variable. So we have this variable which is an integer, and we have my which is an integer. We have customer name, also a character here, and we have contact, email, checking in date. All of these are characters which are also arrays with arrays.
Still with our hotel booking system, this section that we have here, that's from this side to this side, is what we call as our user input section. And the function of this code over here is to accept data that's from the user. So this is where the user prints or types in his or her contact number, enters the email address, the check-in date, and then the number of nights. So maybe for 2 nights, 3 nights or so. So this is the section where it accepts all these kind of data: your contact number, your email address, your check-in date, and then the number of nights. Now we move on to the next section that we have here, and we have this booking confirmation section. That's from this side to this side. This is what we call our booking confirmation section. Now this section creates a new booking entry in the bookings array, and also it initializes the booking entry with the provided room number, the number of nights, and calculated total price. The copies the user inputted, that's the customer name, the contact number, the email address, and the check-in date, are also placed in there. And also it is to increase the booking count variable, that is to keep track of the number of bookings. Then we have our last code here. We have our last code here to be our cancel reservation. That's a function that cancels a reservation. So here's how it works. That's from this section to this section. That's what we call our reservation being cancelled. That's it's a function that cancels our reservation if we want to cancel. So this is how it works. The user is prompted to enter the room number they want to cancel. Then the function iterates through the bookings array to find the booking entry that matches the room number. Then after that, once the matching booking entry is found, the function iterates through the rooms array to find the room that matches the room. When the matching room is found, the function gets is available, that's flagged to true. So when it's available, it is flagged to true. That's where you use the boolean sign, indicating that the room is now available for booking. So that's how our code works here. And so starting from this side, this helps the user to enter his or her name enter his or the contact number, enter the email address, enter the check-in date, the number of nights, and so on. Now, someone may ask for the uses of these fget functions. Now, these fget functions reads a line of input from the user. Okay, so it reads a line of input from the user, and scanf reads an integer value for the number of tickets. So that's how our code works for here. Thank you very much.
I would like to continue for where my colleague ended, and I'll be explaining the council reservation code. From this line of code means this, like, the code is responsible for finding the booking that matches the room entered by the user. And to locate the corresponding room in the room array and updating its status to be true. This makes it that the room is marked available when the reservation is cancelled. And okay, this code over here allows the user to make sure that the room number entered by the user is in the room array. And this code over here makes the room just entered by the user available, so that it cancels the reservation and makes the room to be available for maybe another person to maybe book. And this code means this lines of code handles the removal of a cancelled booking by shifting the remaining bookings forward in the array, therefore updating the booking count and providing feeding to the user, either confirming of the cancellation or notifying them if no matching booking is made. Yeah, and this code, maybe I enter maybe reservation from room 110 whilst I didn't make any bookings yet, it's going to tell me that no booking has been found for that room. But when I book a room, maybe room 1110 in the same room, it's going to tell me the reservation for the room has been cancelled, so therefore now the room is made available for maybe another person to book. And voice show bookings here, this code, this function shows bookings, checks if there are any bookings. If so, displays detailed information of the booked room. If no, it exits and notifies the user accordingly. Okay, so maybe when I book room 110, it's going to tell me the detailed information of that room. So maybe it's going to tell me the room number, which is room 110, the customer name, contact, the email, the check-in date. Maybe just me today is going to tell me today how many nights the person wants to spend over there, and the price of the room. If I didn't make any bookings here, it's going to tell me that no bookings yet. So I would like to end here and let my colleague continue the rest. Thank you.
Greetings, my name is Ohene Tuneboyamo, a member of Group 6, and I'll be taking the last part of our group's hotel booking system. So I'll be taking code of line from 146 to 173. So for my first line of code, we have our int main, which is the entry point of the program. Move to our next line where we have our in choice. We declare a variable to store the user's menu choice. Move to our next line, which starts a do while loop to repeatedly show menu until the user chooses to exit. Move to our next line, which prints a welcome banner. So from code of line 150 to code of line 154 displays the menu option. Move to our next line of code, which prompts the user for input. When we move to our next line of code, scanf takes the user's numeric choice as input. Move to our next line, getChar clears the new line character left in the input buffer after scanf. We move to our next line, switch choice, which begins checking which option the user selected. Move to our next line, which starts keys. So for our case 1, it calls the function show available rooms. Move to our second case, which calls the function to book a room. Move to our third case, which calls the function to cancel a reservation. When we move to our fourth case, calls the function to view bookings. When you, when you move to our fifth case, if the user chooses to exit, print a thank you message and contact information. So we move to our next line of code here. So if the input is not 1 to 5, shows an error message. That is the function of this code default over here. So move to our next line of code where we have the while choice. The loop continues until the user enters 5 to exit. So this function is used as a loop continue until the user enters 5 to exit. So we move to our next line where we have our return 0, which ends the program successfully. So now I'm going. Greetings, my name is Ohene Boy, a member of Group 6, and I'll be taking the last part of our group's hotel booking system. So I'll be taking code of line from 146 to 173. So for my first line of code, we have our int main, which is the entry point of the program. We move to our next line where we have our int choice. We declare a variable to store the user's menu choice. Move to our next line, which starts a do while loop to repeatedly show menu until the user chooses to exit. Move to our next line, which prints a welcome banner. So from code of line 150 to code of line 154 displays a menu option. Move to our next line of code, which prompts the user for input. When we move to our next line of code, scanf takes the user's numeric choice as input. Move to our next line, getChar clears the new line character left in the input buffer after scanf. We move to our next line, switch choice, which begins checking which option the user selected. Move to our next line, which starts case. So for our case 1, it calls the function show available rooms. Move to our second case, which calls the function to book a room. Move to our third case, which calls the function to cancel a reservation. When we move to our fourth case, calls the function to view bookings. When you move to our fifth case, if the user chooses to exit, print a thank you message and contact information. So we move to our next line of code here. So if the input is not 1 to 5, shows an error message. That is the function of this code default over here. So move to our next line of code where we have the while choice. The loop continues until the user enters 5 to exit. So this function is used as a loop continue until the user enters 5 to exit. So we move to our next line where we have our return 0, which ends the program successfully. So now I'm going to run our program to see how it looks like. Charlie. So I'm running my code. So this is how the code looks like when we run it. So we have welcome to Lakeside Hotel booking system, which we have our options: display available rooms, book a room, cancel reservations, view bookings, and 5 exits. So I'm going to enter one which is view available rooms. So we have our available rooms here with their corresponding room numbers, their room types, and their prices. So right now I'm going to book a room, so 2. So right now I request for the room number we want to. So I'm going to go for room 101. So request for customer name, contact, enter it, email, so date of check-in of which I'll choose, let's say 25th March 2025. So number of nights, let's say I'd like to spend 10 nights. So, booking confirmed. Room 101 booked successfully for 10 nights. Check-in date 25th of March 2025. A confirmation message will be sent to your contact and email. So right now, let's say if I want to view my bookings, so I choose 4. I enter. So current booking. So we have room 101, customer name Ohene, contact. There's my contact, my email. Then check-in date, which is 25th March. The number of nights I will spend 10 nights. And the total price I will pay at the end of my stay at the hotel. So right now, let's say if I want to cancel my reservation, I choose 3. Which room number to cancel? Room 101. So reservation from 101 cancelled. So right now, if I would like to exit the group, I just choose 5. So it says, thank you for choosing Lakeside Hotel. We look forward to your stay. For any inquiries, contact us, of which they provided their email, phone, and website for any inquiries where you can contact them. Thank you very much.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with him. Walk him down whole time, I know he got some hoe in him. Pull on him, extort shit, bully the flow on him. Say Drake, I hear you like